Hello, everybody. Haha. Interesting one today. Ever since last week, I've been asked literally 1,000 times, please address the Solana congestion problem. The problem we have with the Solana congestion problem is it's a very technical problem with many dimensions, and I don't like doing anything half-assed. I like to do it in a comprehensive way, so it took me 5 days to prepare what you're about to see. And there's lots of silver linings, and we'll do some TA at the end, and we'll dispel all the FUD out there. Now, nothing is perfect, and there are some issues, but let's just jump in and see what we got going on. And hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me see. I see already a slide is out of order. Let me put this back in place. Hold on a second. That should be down there. All right. Tricky stuff. Okay, we're going to talk about congestion on Solana and what's going on. And we don't even need a disclaimer now. But before we jump in, shout out to Patreon as well. A new one. Thank you to the team behind me, by the way. Hawkins says, new Patreon member, Best Alpha. Followed your YouTube for a long time. And I am an ATR user. That's very cool, because I will be showcasing, actually, coincidentally, ATR at the end of this video, and I didn't even know that this is going to be there. Thank you. Let's check in on the health of the Solana chain real quick before we jump into all of the technical stuff. And this will be a bit of a technical video, so I hope that's okay with you all. I know a lot of people in crypto are actually very technical, but Solana price has been very steady, just under, hovering around 180 now for a couple of days during all of this. DeFi liquidity, nearly $1 billion. And NFT volume up 43.71% at nearly 9 million. And nearly 8 million active wallets in the last 24 hours. And there's about 1,000 dApps that are running like clockwork. So the chain is fine, sort of. Well, not exactly fine, but still humming along. Now, this is what gets everybody excited. All the other chains, they become Gravedancers. They're so excited. Yes, the biggest threat to our existence is dying. And this must be the single most shown chart last week with all the red. And this shows you the so-called failed non-vote percent, 77.5% versus successful non-vote percent, 22.5%. We'll show you a truer version of this in a minute. But it's funny, the excitement. It's like Peter Schiff with gold when it breaks new all-time high. He says, oh, look, you see, Bitcoin's garbage. Gold is going up and Bitcoin's going down. Everybody, you need perspective. And that's what I'm going to show you here as well. Now, there are 3 network challenges. That's not a joke. There are some problems. And rather than application-level failures leading to real problems, these are more like networking problems. Thank you, the Merovingian. And as well, by the way, thank you to I Am Cult. Missed that one too. And to the mods in the chat. Forgot to mention you wonderful people. Also, the second thing that's happening is spam attacks during NFT mints. Everybody wants to get their hands on NFTs and meme coins and all that type of stuff. And then there's another kind of networking thing. It's called the QUIC networking protocol, which manages connections and throttles users under heavy load. This is actually a technology that comes from Google, and they have put this in place to help prevent system outages. And it's working despite sometimes being hit by 1.5 million users a day, some of them doing up to 60 transactions a day. It's a lot of load. We'll break all that down as well. Now, there is some impact of this as well. Unfortunately, some new product launches have been delayed by some of this congestion. You don't want to launch during a congested period. And there's a little bit of churn, about 5%, due to product performance issues. That's normal. But it's better to be battle hardened in these types of situations than in a raging market where you have 1 billion users on your chain. So there's a lot of goodness there as well. And Austin Federa came out and said, once again, battle testing in progress. The Solana network is once again being battle tested with a huge influx of traffic. Bug fixes are rolling out over the next week, and things will start to improve. Thank you, Austin, for that note. And we have a lot more to touch on as we go forward. But remember, the hardest thing in crypto, the hardest thing. Not solving all these network issues and spam problems. They're all very easily solvable. The chain itself is fundamentally fine. But the hardest problem to solve is the problem that Solana has, and that is adoption. Okay, crypto adoption. If you could pick any problem to not have, this or any problem to have, this would be it. Because getting users on your chain is by far the hardest thing, and that's why there's so many ghost chains out there. Literally, there's chains that are considered leading chains with $8 in transaction fee a day. I won't mention who they are because I don't want to upset the toxic armies. But that is the real issue right now. And that's not a problem that Solana has. Let's look at what's going on. Big picture. Ever since literally September 2023, 7 months ago. Okay, two things have happened. Number one, users have exploded. And number two, monthly revenues have exploded as well. That being the green line, which is an extremely good thing for the chain. We'll get to the congestion in a minute too, but I want to get some of this stuff out of the way because it's very, very important to know why there is congestion. Is because there's a ton of users, a lot more than any other chain, and a lot more than transactions than all the other chains combined. Important to bear that in mind too, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's look at revenue share amongst all the SCPs. The big 800-pound gorilla remains the big 800-pound gorilla. That's Ethereum. They have that about 50% of all fees on chain. But number two, with a huge chunk, is Solana right now. Number three is Bitcoin. Okay, and then you can go down the list and figure out all the rest. So it's already number two. And I promise you one day it'll be number one in fees. Despite the extraordinarily high fees that ETH has, Solana do a lot more transactions. Now, let's get some more perspective on the transaction fail rate. All right, it's like, okay, some transactions are failing, but oh my God, it's terrible. 70%, 72%, 78%, 80%. But we were back in November at pretty much the same levels. Yes, it's getting higher because traffic is getting bigger, more and more users, but the system is coping. Now, more perspective about the failed transactions. They are failing for a reason, and it's a little bit by design. This is where I kind of get out of my technical depth as to why this is happening. But if you look at block space waste, typically from Jito, about 60%, 58% of all block space is wasted from failed arbitrage compute. And of the transactions that are failing, 98% of them are ARB transactions, which are done by bots. Yesterday, I moved stuff around from wallet to wallet. I bought crypto and sent crypto. And yes, it wasn't as fast as normal. Normally, I get a response. I can move one thing from one wallet to another, and I see it within a second. Yesterday, it took about 10 to 20 seconds. So it was definitely slower than normal, but I had no problem with any of the transactions as well. So that's because the transactions that are placed, like the stuff I do, is kind of maybe like a priority, and all the bot ARB stuff is failing. So let's get into what is going on. One of the network problems is a thing called QUIC. Now, a lot of people point towards, oh, the chain is broken, but no. Not at all. The reason right now is for the greater than failed 50% failed transactions is the main cause of congestion on Solana is the transactions that never made it, and they are done by bots for arbing purposes only. And the network layer is the communication layer of the internet, and is used to send packets of data from one connection to another. For example, TCP, UDP, and QUIC, which is designed by Google. And Solana recently upgraded to QUIC to make sure that they wouldn't have any outages. They could actually keep the chain running. So the problem is not that the chain has a problem. The problem is not that they're using QUIC. The problem is some of the QUIC implementations are slightly flawed, and that's the issue. And we'll get more into the weeds of exactly what that means in a second. But first, we'll show you a visual of exactly what's happening. So shout out as well to Nishil. He put this beautiful graphic together. It made me laugh. And a shout out to Sanjay as well for getting it to me. But you got these bots, and these bots are firing millions and millions of transactions. And then you have a meme coin, Enjoyoor, people that like to play with meme coins, etc., trade them on Jupiter or whatever else. The system has challenges. Now, the meme coin Enjoyoor, because they're not spamming the system, their transactions are getting through, as well as some of the bot transactions, but a lot of the bot transactions are not getting through. So that's a very cool piece of perspective there. Also, this is from Mert, friend of the channel. The QUIC issue is, I'll try and explain it as best I can, but it's not due to a flaw in the protocol's design, but it stems from that implementation bug for some of the QUIC implementations. And it emphasized the distinction between design flaws, something that's serious and fundamental, versus an implementation error, which is what's causing the congestion. So I think Mert talks about an example of a car like BMW, Mercedes, or Toyota. And if somebody puts the wrong tires on a car and they blow up, that's the implementation problem. But the car is fundamentally fine as they go forward. And the QUIC protocol, again, is also fine. It's just how it was implemented. And by the way, this is a little caption at the very bottom from Richard Patel, who is one of the core engineers on, guess what, Firedancer. And his words were basically, not all implementations of QUIC have these issues, indicating the possibility of fixing Solana's current problems by switching to a slightly different implementation will fix it. Also, Firedancer will fix it, and Firedancer is coming. And the ETA for a patch on this problem is April 15th, and that's a week from now. As Austin Federa also said, the team has been working around the clock 7 days a week to solve this problem. Now, getting back to some more Gravedancers, enter Mert, by the way. Shout out to Mert. He, in my opinion, is a modern day George Carlin. He is like the dean of the counter crypto culture. He's a bit of a comedian and a technical god. But here he says, all the armchair commentators are suddenly Solana experts. People are milking the hell out of this implementation bug in quotation marks. There is no design flaw. There is some bad code that needs to be replaced, and that's it. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and short it and tweet a screenshot. What he means by short it is short Solana. By the way, Solana's been very stable during this whole time as well. So make that. Now, a little bit of QUIC, a cool little chart here showing you exactly what QUIC does. The only thing you need to know is, like TCP/IP, UDP basically is designed to prevent the chain from halting like in the past. And remember, as I mentioned before, QUIC is Google technology they're using. There's nothing wrong with the technology. There's a problem with some of the implementations of the technology. That's it. Now, there are other problems as well causing congestion. One is the OR Mineable Token. And everybody is foaming into this. But if you look at the amount of transactions on this, it's only third here. Radium is number one, by the way. Yes, and I have a little bit of Radium in my Sol Alt portfolio. And then there's Associated Token. And then there's Jupiter is number 4. OR is now number 3. What's going on with this OR thing? Well, the lore of the OR. Recent launch of OR, which is a new token on Solana blockchain, has ignited a mining frenzy that is contributing to network congestion. It's probably responsible for about a third of it, I'd say. And users are reporting difficulty getting their transactions through, and many point to the lucrative rewards associated with OR mining, and that has been a part of the actual problem itself. Now, let's see what else we got. And from Mert, thank you again, Mert, for all your support. OR did not break the chain. And as the team, like Toly and Mert and everybody else at Solana, they'll say it was always broken. But it's driving the urgency for fixes, which is important. It goes back to the battle testing. You know, never before has a chain had to handle, 8 million wallets a day, 1.5 million active users doing 60 plus transactions a day each on average. Never before has that load ever been experienced by a blockchain until Solana. So please, everybody bear this in mind. And it's good that they're testing now with things like meme coins and ore mining and all that good stuff rather than real world applications, which will be coming real soon. Now, this is another fun piece. That's why I say it's like the George Carlin. Today we had a solar eclipse. I'll post my really bad picture of it later because it passed sort of a little bit overhead. But a lot of people now think, uh-oh, Solana, solar eclipse. See the pattern? No, the solar eclipse did not break Solana. Not related, even though it has the name Solana. I just thought it was funny to share and very timely as well. A little bit about the fixes, because there are lots of fixes in the works coming from different areas. And this shows you as well, one of the most important things in a blockchain is the power of the community. Not people, leaders of a chain saying everything is fine. We're going to explode this year. No. The best leaders are the ones that tell you where the warts and the other bad things are on the chain. And that's what this chain does very well. So teams like Jump, Firedancer, and Anza, etc. are all working to ship fixes, and they're working around the clock. But there's still a long road ahead. So there's no guarantee how good the fixes will be. And things like Firedancer, which believed would solve a lot of these issues, will not be coming out till the end of this year. By the way, on Firedancer, I get this question all the time. When's it coming? When's it coming? The plan originally, I think, from what I know and what I've heard, was for Breakpoint in Singapore in November. But if not by then, by the end of the year, maybe at the latest very early next year. But remember, that will empower this chain to become much more decentralized and much more scalable in a very short window of time. That means all other chains will technically mostly be made redundant very quickly. And that it would be a scary time. But that's why it's good that this chain is being battle tested now. So it's ready for things like Firedancer when they come. Very important. Also, issues with network spam. And there are multiple issues with the economics of transactions on Solana. And it fails to prevent bad actors from playing with it. But they are working on many fixes to stop those spam bots from doing what they do, because they're causing a huge part of the problem. In addition, Jupiter is tackling it also. Jupiter, my favorite DEX aggregator, it announced a significant infrastructure upgrade to handle network congestion and scaling challenges. And that is really cool from them. In addition, Jito has created a proprietary block engine, which is a workaround to some of the congestion happening as well. And a lot of validators are running Jito clients, and they're mitigating their own congestion problems with their own solution, which is super impressive as well. And other stuff is coming too. There's stack improvements. Update version 1.18 is coming too, which will fix the implementation, I think, of QUIC, like we covered, and many other solutions that will help address these network issues. And again, it's being attacked from all sides, and the team shares all that they do. It's not like each dApp or whatever is an island. It's a very cohesive team, which is super impressive as well. And the community, as I mentioned before, all of them, Helios, which is Mert's shop, Anza, Firedancer, they were all collaborating to solve this problem. And they will all do it together as well in a short window of time. Now, as I mentioned before, short and long term, what's going to happen in the short term, it's important to know. Immediate fixes, version 1.18 will come out first, and then bigger things will happen later, like Firedancer. And there's other stuff as well that I don't know enough about to even talk about, like stake-weighted models and queuing and all those things. So I'm not even going to talk about them. But there are many, many fixes coming in a week and to the end of the year as well. Now, getting back to Toly, this is interesting. And again, I shared this on DCA this morning. If you look at the number of daily active users on Solana, 1.4 million versus Bitcoin 640 versus Linea, which is nearly 500,000, which is brand new, by the way, and Ethereum 427, and you go all the way down the list. It doesn't really matter, but the point is, Solana handles more transactions than all of these others combined. And Toly's point here is alt L1s have the privilege and the opportunity to do all things Ethereum can't. And given that 4 years since Solana's launch, and ETH and all the L2s do not account for much overall load in crypto. One chain is carrying all the water for all the degens out there right now. So I want people to be aware of that. I call it the black hole theory, mentioned it a long time ago, and that's exactly what's happening as well. And despite all this FUD, all this congestion and everything else, Solana is still running at 1900 transactions per second, and it's being bugged, etc. And the number of users affected, the real demand is probably 10 to 20x this. But as Mert says, I think Solana will be the first chain to handle 50,000 real TPS in production in the very near future. Okay, that's 25x what we got. 10x is a step change. That'd be a 2.5 times step change. 2.5x, 10x. So we'll see where it goes, but Firedancer will be a big part of this as well as all the other fixes happening too. Now, and shout out as well to people like Andre and Zahir. They basically tell you, told you so, but the truth is, Solana is a victim of its own success, but all good things are. Okay? It's the best, cheapest, fastest chain out there, and therefore everybody's running towards it, as we also said would happen. Let's look at some charts and then do a quick wrap up. So first of all, Solana on the ATR hit level 5 and was rejected. Stunning how these levels work as support and resistance. It even takes me aback, even though we spent 15, 16 months trying to build this thing. It still is impressive. This is ATR on the daily, and that our Patreon member mentioned at the beginning. What's really impressive too is the buy and sell flags. Again, this is no noise reduction on the daily on trend model. 89.13% win rate. It actually picked the top as well, and it's just about to flash a buy signal again. Now, what's level 5? What's level 6? Level 6 is the top. That means it's back at all-time highs, and you can see where it came from over time. As I mentioned before as well, the ATR was designed originally to identify zombies. If we are 16 months into a bull run and your token is not at level 2, odds are, not saying definitively, but odds are it is a zombie. So beware of that as well. Be in the winners. Be in the fastest horses. Winner takes most. All the usual stuff I say. Sorry for repeating myself, but we have to hammer these messages home because they're critical for you all to know. Thank you so much. Hope you like the show. Hope that appeases your concerns about Solana congestion. And it's good it's happening now and not when we have 1 billion users on chain trying to get real world stuff done. If somebody's late buying their latest cat coin, who cares? If somebody's not making as much money as they could mining ore, that's okay. They'll get over it. They'll have to wait a few hours to get whatever done. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the mods in the chat. And I'll see you all later. Tomorrow's Octa Day, as well as the Bitcoin Daily in the morning. And Bitcoin and Solana and everything else is doing really well today. Actually, let's check on Bitcoin price. 71.7. And Solana, as we speak, is 181. Woohoo! Went up $2 since I did this. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy the show. Hit the like if you learned something new. I certainly did over the last 5 days going through all that stuff. And shout out to Mert as well. He is funny. Bye-bye.